Hi there, I'm Alex Sipka, and this is the Apatros Review. Those who have been following the Apatros Review will have remembered that I reviewed a rather misbegotten telepic called They Saved Mr. H's Brain a fair while ago. That was a remake by Edit conducted in 1972 by German Nationalists to reuse one of their previous projects for a television movie package. The Madmen of Mandoras is the original 1963 version of that unholy telepic, and is the subject of this review. To ensure that we are all on the same page, let me recount the plot, minus aside from the new footage or the present remake. Professor John Coleman, a scientist employed by the American military-industrial complex, has been working on an antidote to a deadly World War II German nationalist engineered nerve gas that is otherwise unstoppable. The antidote has been perfected, but the professor and his youngest daughter are kidnapped by agents working for a German nationalist holdout, operating in a base hidden in the South American nation of Mandoras. The professor's oldest daughter and her husband, a CID agent, basically the army version of NCIS, are visited by a Mandoras native who is the only surviving member of the personal medical team of the Austrian Painter. But before he could tell them anything more, he's shot dead by the kidnappers. Following what little advice he gave them, our protagonist couple head to Mandoras to rescue their father-in-law. Once there, they are joined by the dead man's twin brother, and together they mount a rescue attempt whilst trying to avoid any suspicion from the local authorities, which despite their nature are actually secretly allied with our heroes to rid the nation of the German nationalist jackboot scumsuckers, but could not yet play their hand. Once they finally manage to retrieve the professor, they finally find out the truly horrible indeed secret about the bad guys. Turns out the German nationalist holdout is led by the still-living 74-year-old severed head of the Austrian Painter, its head in a protective glass jar Futurama style. While the 1972 telepic remake was an utterly horribly atrociously bad movie, the 1963 original version is certainly superior to it, mainly thanks to not having the ridiculously inept UCLA footage that was inserted in the 72 version to pad the feature length. Madmen of Mandoras is a rather short movie of roughly 74 minutes at runtime, which, while being the usual length for many of the 1970s telepic, someone was deemed too short by Crown and they chose to add the hopeless new footage to boost the runtime. Without that superfluous footage, the original version runs leaner and has a rather modest efficiency to it the 72 version utterly lacked. So if you are after the definitive version of this story, the 63 original is the one to go for, provided you can find a copy. Here's a hint: Mill Creek has in some of the massive box sets. They even issued a set with both versions included on it. Well, it's also on YouTube, which is where I found my copy. That being said, The Madmen of Mandoras is a pretty damn bad movie on its own. The script feels like every third page has been torn out, resulting in some plot holes that don't get resolved unless you simply treat them as just because the situation is typical at the time. Pretty much coinky dinks. You can get around the idea of the professor's antidote being the only one in existence, as this type of gas might have been exceptionally difficult to make an antidote for, and the gas might not have been revealed to exist until very only recently in the film's timeline. The idea that the younger daughter's boyfriend is a German nationalist insider can be explained as him becoming her boyfriend to ensure their plan succeeded. The German nationalists actually used to do this back in the day with their brothels in Berlin being prime hotspots for German nationalist hookers, spying on their johns, recording the secrets to add to the Gestapo's infamously efficient filing system. Look up the Salon Kitty for more on that subject. And by the way, Salon Kitty was actually the subject of a rather nasty movie by Tinto Brass. I've seen it. Crazy movie. Although the jackbooted lunkhead could have used his role a little better by sweet-talking his girlfriend all the way to the end to prevent the interference, instead of simply breaking off by slapping the shit out of her. I had no problem with the last survivor of the Austrian Painter's medical team being a native of the nation, while his still-living head leads a holdout there. Perhaps he could have helped the Führer pick that spot for his forever Reich. Nor having a twin brother keen on getting his boot up the Führer's life-preserving equipment's metal ass and revenge the bro's death. You need some quirky things to exist for the story to move along. But the movie fails to excite, has a plot that could have used more elaboration and expository info dumps, has a central gimmick that without that sufficient explanation looks almost ridiculous. That being said, the asylum managed to use that idea, that of the Austrian Painter's severed head in a jar, to far more luridly entertaining effect than one of their mockbusters a good 40 or so years later. And it just has a robustly shocky feel to it, robbing it of any substance. Plus, the German nationalists here are pure cardboard cutouts. Even the uniforms look like cheap knockoffs. Plus, they get the trademark German nationalist windmill logo wrong, with it facing the wrong way in the evil head's throne room. If you're an MST3K fan, this is good for riffing, but taking pure form is pretty damn bad. Still, it is better than reedit that came out 9 years later. The Madmen Mandoras gets a D, 2 out of 10. It's roundly bad stuff. No nudity, but the climax has the heads burning down to the skull. In the 72 version, they cut the footage halfway for the hand grenade cremation, so you don't see the final moments of the burning, but in the original, you see it burning all the way down to the charred skull. Back in 1963, that was pretty damn gory for a cheap B flick, and insanely so. And that's it for the Madmen Mandoras. Gets a D, 2 out of 10. It's bad. But it's better than the 1972 version. By a nose. Okay, I hope you guys enjoyed that. If you have any questions, comments, or associated trivia for this review subject, please leave in the comments, and I'll be happy to respond. Hope you guys are staying safe, take it easy, and see ya.